Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1859, written by Anonymous. The Copycat Car and the Look-alike Star. I pulled into a fast food drive-thru in Odessa, Texas, my first time there. My turn at the speaker, and I place my order. It's been a long drive, so I'm treating myself and being a little picky, asking nicely, and building a customized meal. Cashier listens and says, "Again? You ate all that already?" Me. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Someone who sounds just like you was just through here. Placed the exact same order. Hey, cool. Weird, but cool. I get to the window, and the girl looks at me with this exasperated expression, opens the window and says, "It is you." I'm just left confused. Cashier calls her manager over and points at me, shows him the order, says nothing. Manager: "Welcome back. Was there a problem with your order?" Me: "No, I haven't gotten it yet." The manager, clearly confused: "I made your order myself." Cashier points at the time on the receipt. The manager blinks and says, "That's the same order," to her, looks at me, back at her, and says, "And that's him." Cashier: "I said the same thing." Both of them looked genuinely upset and confused. It got worse when I told them I had never been to Odessa before. As the manager was handing me my food, he laughed and visibly relaxed. The other guy had long hair, he explained, pointing to my cap. Like halfway down his back. You just have a twin, I guess, with the same kind of car. His face when I took off my hat and showed him the long hair. They might have been messing with me for fun. Shifts get long and people are creative. But if it was a game, they deserve careers in theater because they looked terrified. Yes, I looked around for copies of my car or self while I was in town. Nada. Case on file 1859, the Copycat Car and the Look-alike Star. Well, there are many similarities here between you and this other person or other you, with short hair. But the fact that your voices even sounded the same. Same car, same voice, same face, but different hair. It really does sound like your doppelganger that is just living about his life normally. You know, sometimes I wonder if we can be ported over to a different universe in corporeal form, not just a soul. And then that's how doppelganger stories can come about. We feel uneasy about it because we know they don't belong here. But only we can know that. We can detect the quantum frequency, whatever you want to call it, that resonates with a particular universe, and if you're not in the right one, then your multiverse twin knows it. Case file number 1860, written by Anonymous. The Creepy Truck in the Night's Dark Shroud. I was driving one night in a really foul mood and speeding. Like when I say speeding, I mean at least 25 over the limit. Anyway, this car gets behind me, and for some reason I can just tell it wasn't a cop. It was a fully tinted Chevy truck with weird lights on it, like comically large aftermarket front headlights. Once it got behind me, I got a really eerie feeling I can't explain. Like my body just knew something was wrong. I figured if it was a cop, they would light me up for speeding. But for some reason they just kept pace with me, also speeding themselves. So at this point, I'm getting a little weirded out, so I turn off the freeway and they follow me. I turn into a gas station and get out. I figure if I'm going to get axe murdered, at least the cameras will pick it up and give my family some closure. Something just didn't sit right with me. I knew something was up. As I'm getting out of my car, the truck rolls its windows down, and what I saw still haunts me to this day. It was a heavily disfigured guy, the only likes of which I can compare to that guy Rocky Dennis from the movie. About the guy with a crazy disfigured head who falls for that girl who loves him for him, and not the abomination that is his face. And he starts to motion me with his finger, like telling me to come closer. I didn't care if he was going to give me the winning Powerball numbers. There was no way in hell I was going to approach his car. I bolt inside the gas station. At this point, my whole body is shaking. I try to tell the clerk what's going on as they stare at me, probably thinking I'm drunk or high off my butt, as my story doesn't make any sense. I go to look outside, and the truck is gone. I still have nightmares to this day. Case on to file 1860, the creepy truck in the night's dark shroud. Yeah, this was a horror story, alright. Oh my god. To imagine that, seeing a vehicle follow you, and then you see inside and some deformed, almost zombie-like skeleton figure. Now I say it's a horror story, but what if there was actually a problem with your car or something, and this guy was just trying to be a good Samaritan, and he just happens to be disfigured, and it's no fault of his own? It's just the context made it so scary. Maybe. Otherwise, I don't know what this would be. I mean, it's not really a zombie driving the car, or some necromancy experiment by some witch that's just raising the dead in the area and giving it a car. That would be rather unusual, although kind of interesting. Could even a zombie pass the DMV test? Maybe. Imagine this car gets pulled over, the cop approaches. That'd be a story to tell, and bullets wouldn't help. Case file number 1861, written by Sherpa, Echoes of the Forgotten Cabinet. I've lived in a small apartment that's been my great-grandmother's. Never heard unusual sounds or other phenomena in this apartment. Never had any strange experience there or something I would consider as a glitch. Except for this one thing that happened to me and my mother years apart. As an amateur photographer, I always kept my modest gear in one place. And it's not a hidden place, just an ordinary tiny cabinet with one shelf in the living room. As I was moving to my new place, I packed every little thing, but the camera lens was nowhere to be found. Then I cleaned every inch of the apartment, but nothing. Few more times I looked with a lamp under the bed, sofa, the same cabinet, still nothing. The apartment was then rented. One girl was there for a year, and another girl for 2. Told both of them to keep an eye if the lens appeared. Me and my mother both cleaned the apartment before the first girl came, and only my mother cleaned after the first and second girl. I told her to look again and again, but alas, 3 years have passed. My mother moved in the same apartment, and invited me over. As I entered, I had a strange urge to once again open the cabinet. And there it was, in the cabinet, on a shelf where I always kept it. My mother has a saying. In a translation, it would be something like, "The house takes and the house returns." Because the same thing happened to her about 35 years ago, in the same apartment. Her father, my granddad, lent her the camera and most of his expensive lenses for a hiking trip. When she returned, there was no lens in the bag. Last time she saw it was on the way home. Back then, cameras were really a luxury, and her dad said nothing when she tried to explain what happened. His heart broke. The lens appeared also 3 years later, on a table in the middle of a living room. Her dad actually believed her this time. Anyways, I don't know what to think of it. Why camera lenses? Why 3 years? Is it a coincidence? A message? A joke of some photography enthusiast ghost? Portal that opens up every 30-something years and takes expensive lenses? I don't know. Sometimes I'm tempted to put the camera lens again in the same spot and see what happens. We had, Mom and me, some minor things happening, besides this, that would maybe be categorized as glitches, ghost stories, or just something weird, but not related to the apartment. Case on file 1861, Echoes of the Forgotten Cabinet. Location, location, location. Perhaps bound to you, but still in a given location. It is where it was supposed to be, just phased out. I think sometimes DOP can be a manifestation of multiverse shenanigans where an item goes to a different universe accidentally. Sometimes inanimate objects simply are not rendered in time. The simulation managers They do want to fix it, but there's probably a huge queue of items to fix. They can only do so many at a time while verifying that it's accurate. Because you don't want to respawn something that isn't actually missing. That's how you get duplication glitches in MMOs and it throws a balance out of whack. Universe, I lost a gold bar. Here's 2, here's 10, etc. Don't want that. So eventually they get to fix your issue, but curious that you even felt it. It's almost like they send a subconscious signal when they fix it, like, check it again. We took care of it, go check. There must be some sort of signal they send, because most people know when to look again. Now time for the dad joke of the day. My son wanted to know what it's like to be married. I told him to leave me alone, and when he did, I asked him why he was ignoring me. Contradictions. Chaos. Oh boy. Maybe one day I'll enjoy that chaos too. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.